This is the Advanced Selling Podcast.
I meditate. I light a candle I burn in the Northwest.
The aim of this podcast is to help business sales teams grow their business with modern strategies and philosophies. Now your hosts, Bill Caskey and Bryan Neal.
Back at the Advanced Selling Podcast. I came on pretty strong there, didn't I?
You did.
You were almost asleep. Yep.
I'm in my Zen pose.
You are. Bill Caskey here.
Bryan Neal here.
We are pleased to be with you in your living room or car or on your device, wherever you're listening or watching this. You can find us on YouTube. I said we haven't done this in a while. It's been a week, of course, and
got a new shirt on,
so a little bit
it's different,
a little bit clunky. But you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on AdvancedSellingPodcast.com, and there's all sorts of links from that site onto other places where you can find past episodes.
And our listeners have been very diligent in finding us on LinkedIn.
They have.
I think you have, and I've got a big long list here of people, some to remain nameless, but our friend Andrew, who I believe is from across the pond, our friend David C., John H., Robert. Robert.
I don't have any of these people.
You don't have these people? So
no.
it's all different people.
Yeah.
Robert Stewart, my friend here, he's from the UK, starting an office in New York. He's like our first official sponsor.
Oh,
he's
is
not
he?
paying us. He just asked if we could sponsor him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he does IT support stuff and helps clients avoid some of the typical issues when procuring wide area networks. I don't know.
Oh, cool. I know Robert. Yeah. I know who Robert is. Yeah, he's written us before and asked questions. I've got John Guest. A lot of these guys are from UK. Gary Morrison, Chris Walls, James Neal is from Australia. I got a friend of ours, our firms that actually does some work with us, Alex. I think his name is Saren Danaki out of Black Diamond Paving out in California. Saren Danaki.
Very good. I like that.
And then John from Lloyd's in London. I think he preferred we not use his name because he's with a big, massive company.
I've heard of Lloyd's of London. Yes, I have.
Ian is one of our sales playbook. He's in the sales playbook that I think you're in on LinkedIn. Rachel, Scott, Doug, Drew, thank you for listening, and keep linking into us. I think
and you can find us on LinkedIn. Yeah, we're going to be starting a LinkedIn group, we think. Very shortly, so stay tuned to that LinkedIn group. Will be started here momentarily, we think. Okay.
And then I had an interesting, I saw this come across my desk here the other day, the 1-minute presenter. And, I'm always looking for ways to communicate better and more succinctly and in less time. And I thought, this would be a great book, The 1-Minute Presenter.
Right.
And the title of the book is The 1-Minute Presenter, 8 Steps to Successful Business Presentations in a Short Attention Span World, which is a pretty long title but I started to read. It's a 230-page practical guide for business presenters to learn. I got to read 230 pages.
Serious?
Yeah, look.
And that's the intro.
That's the
intro. You
just
keep reading that whole intro itself. I'm like done reading. Isn't that funny?
That's funny. 1-minute presenter. We're not passing judgment on the book here, but it's kind of coincidental. I thought
kind of not what you'd be expecting. You would just say the 1-minute presenter. Buy this now. Read this.
20 pages.
Stand up straight. Ask for the order.
God, it would take me 5 years to read that. So anyway,
good stuff.
We have a topic today.
We do.
Do we not? Oh, we also want to promote our TV show, Whiteboard Wednesday.
We have a TV show.
.tv. You can find us on YouTube, or there's a website called whiteboardwednesday.tv. You can see episodes. You can also subscribe so you're notified via email when new episodes come out. It's Brooke Green, Bryan Neal, Bill Caskey, and we have some other guests as well.
We do. Very well produced show, I must say.
Yeah, it's fun to do. So it's a little bit different than the Advanced Selling Podcast. We talk about some different
Whiteboard Wednesday,
issues.
That's .tv, you said?
.tv, right.
Whiteboardwednesday.tv. Okay, good.
Topic today.
Ready?
I had a client the other day. It was a brand new client, and we work with people on an ongoing basis at our firm here, and we do coaching and training, and we coach salespeople who have key deals that they need to Kathy, this thing just stopped on us here, and I'm not sure what the deal is.
What just stopped?
I don't. The timer stopped, which means that it was
stopped.
Yeah. Okay, I'll keep my eye on it.
Okay.
Anyway, So I had a client the other day who we've worked with just a very short period of time, and as you know, we work with our clients on a periodic basis a couple times a month, and we do a lot of sales coaching. And it seems like one of the things that we get asked to do is look at my funnel.
Yep.
And the sales manager says, look, here's Bryan's funnel, and he's got 19 people in it,
yep.
and you need to work with him to start advancing some of these because they've been laying here too long. They're not active. They're not moving forward in the funnel. So therefore, we get a lot of pressure to spend time working on the sales funnel.
Yep.
And so as we looked at that, and I look at that type of work, I think, is that really the work that we want to do? Does that really help a person move someone forward in the funnel by working on the funnel? And I don't think it does. And so we were talking the other day with one of our clients about why do people buy? Mm-hmm. What is the reason people buy? What are some what we might call notions around why people buy? So we came up with 7 of them.
7 notions.
7 notions about why customers buy, why prospects buy. So I have them here. I thought I would just go through 2 or 3 to tell you what they are, since you haven't really seen this list yet.
Correct. I'm kind of looking at it now.
Okay, you can't look.
Okay, I won't look.
And then you tell me your impression of this, and then you might have some other things to add to this. You probably will. And then we'll look at, if we don't get all the way through this in the few minutes of our podcast, we can also put this online or on the iPhone app for viewers too.
Yeah, good. Let me turn my back or anything?
No, you can sit.
Okay.
Straight. Sit up straighter though.
I am. Okay. Trying.
People buy because of emotion.
Mm-hmm. Can I expand on that?
Well, let me tell you a little bit what I mean.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. People buy because, what do you think that means? Do you agree with it or not?
Good. Yeah.
And what does it mean to the average listener?
Yeah, interesting. We don't have average listeners.
We have no
First
average
of all,
listeners.
No. Our advanced listeners, the Advanced Selling Podcast
has no average listeners.
We should start a new one called the Average Selling Podcast. I bet that get a lot of listeners, wouldn't it? If you want to just sort of sit there and collect your paycheck and do okay, wind up in the middle of the hump.
There's another podcast for you.
There's another podcast for you. No, we're advanced here. So, do people buy for emotional reasons? Yes, that's part of the reason people buy. I absolutely believe that. Is it the only reason? No. Is it the main reason? Yes, there's always an element to it. And I've actually changed my tune since you and I met in 1997. When I first got here, one of the things that I found interesting was I always said people, I was taught in my sales training that people tell you sort of what they want, and we take what we've got and features and benefits and we sell it to them. It's a feature function mentality, right? Feature benefit, feature function mentality. Then I came along, met you, and we talked about this pain idea. I thought, oh, that's good. And I sort of drew a line between the two and said, okay, it's not feature function anymore, it's just pain. Mm-hmm. And now I'm actually back in the middle where I believe it's both. So there's absolutely a feature function element to everything that someone does. There's a delivery mechanism, there's an engagement, the way that, like you said earlier, we interact with our clients. Mm-hmm. And then behind that, there's always the why part. And so when I'm teaching this in the classroom, one of the things I explain to the clients to get it real simple is to say the pain, the emotional part, is the why behind the what.
Right.
Most salespeople are good at the what. They're not so good at the why.
Correct.
It's the reason behind it.
So you're saying that there is emotion to why people buy, but it's not always all emotion.
Correct.
Because I still feel like even the intellectual stuff, like, okay, Bryan, that's fine, here's my problem, but tell me a little bit about who you work with and how you work.
Yeah.
You may say, well, that's not emotional because I'm talking, but it is emotional for me because I want to make sure that I'm working with the right guy, that he knows what he's doing, that other people work with this guy, so I'm not his first customer. I wouldn't be so quick to say that there's a line between emotional and intellectual. To me, a lot of it is emotional when it may sound intellectual.
Yeah, that's good. It's very good. Now, there's another thing to that if I may enhance that, number one, since we're in that business of enhancing things. The idea of personal emotional motivation. So, for instance, there was a deal we were dissecting this morning at one of my clients, and what had come up is there were 3 or 4 different people involved. And we kind of went through each person, says, what is their personal emotional motivation? Uh-huh. And there was a purchasing agent, her emotional motivation, and she talked about this to my client who's the salesperson. She said, every Christmas, I get recognized at our big Christmas shindig for how much money I save the company.
Wow.
And everybody laughs and talks about how much money did in this woman's name. How much money did she save us this month? That is her big thing. Her emotional motivation was that. There were 2 other gentlemen in the buying process for my client's prospect here, and they kept deferring to, well, we need to ask their boss, this woman. Mm-hmm. We kept calling her Victoria in class this morning, but we need to talk to Victoria about this, and Victoria's got an opinion. Their emotional motivation was not pissing off Victoria or pleasing her. some way, shape, or form. And our client did a really good job uncovering that. Those things are very emotional. Getting recognized like that and not upsetting or looking good to a boss can be very emotional.
So how would you recommend asking that question if Victoria doesn't volunteer it?
That's good.
Or let's suppose I may not be a professional buyer. I may just be a guy who's looking at buying a building or a house or whatever, a customer. How would you ask me that question without prying, but yet getting the information you need to know as a sales professional?
That's very good. It's, first of all, a very challenging thing to discuss because some people are afraid to go there with a customer. Everyone's going to have a different way to say it or different language, so I'd encourage the people listening to this to come up with their own voice. One of the ways that I would enter into that conversation is to say something to the effect of, so what do you have at stake here personally, Bill, as this thing goes on yourself?
So you want to know the stake they have if the problem is unsolved.
Either way, or either way, good or bad. Yeah, good, bad outcome. Either way, if they buy it, they don't buy it. I say, what do you have it personally at stake on the line here?
I might say that. What is which is the same exact question, just slightly different words. What's your interest in this, in getting this solved? Tell me about your personal interest.
That's good. Personal interest.
Because you don't want to imply that they're in some kind of emotional pain personally because of it, but you don't want to also not give them the chance to tell you.
No doubt. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so that's number one. Why people buy, it is emotional.
No doubt.
So obviously we're not going to have time to go through, since we're already at 10 minutes, I'm not going to have a chance to go through all 7. Let me find one here.
A quickie?
Here's one. Yeah, well, this is not a quickie here. This is not either. Well, look, I'll tell you what, I'm sorry I brought this topic up. Pain is never on the table when you show up. Or another way to look at it is their emotional reason for seeing you or buying is never on the table when you show up. Never is a big word, but predominantly it's not.
Can I just say something, a tactic real quickly for our listeners? Mm-hmm. There's a book called The Question Behind the Question, and I've never read the book, but I love the title. Mm-hmm. For this scenario for salespeople, we change the title, and we say it's the answer behind the answer. Yeah. And there's always an answer behind the answer. And how many times have you been in a training class? It happened to me this morning, same client. Something came up, and I said, why did they decide to do that? Very simple. I don't know. I didn't ask them that. Mm-hmm. So there's always another question to be asked, and the easy question is why.
Good. So the answer to the question is the answer to the next question.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, there's something like
that.
That's
good. Say that again.
So the answer to that issue of it's never on the table up front is that it's not, but you have to find it. You have to put it on the table by asking the next question and by taking the answer that the prospect gives you and taking one level, a little deeper cut at it.
That's good. The answer behind the answer.
That's good. That's good. Okay, we're going to put this up on the iPhone app, so you iPhone users will also get it up on the AdvancedSellingPodcast.com site too.
Okay.
There's 4 or 5 others here. We might talk about these in future sessions, but we thought you'd like to have them, so we'll make sure they get uploaded as a PDF. And also go to whiteboardwednesday.tv if you want to see us in action in different clothes.
With makeup.
With makeup and with lighting. But go ahead there, and there might be some interesting things, and that comes out every 2 weeks.
Beautiful.
Okay, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.